Good afternoon, Eelco. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Maria. It's a pleasure being here.
Eelco is joining us today from our Global Leadership Advisor and Executive Search Partner company, Amrop, where he is the managing partner at the Amsterdam office. Eelco will be speaking at the Board Master event in June on how to land your next board role. Eelco, welcome, and perhaps you could give us a short introduction about your role at Amrop and how you help candidates advance their careers.
Yeah, thank you, Maria, for the introduction. I started my career in the late 80s at Procter & Gamble here in the Netherlands. Made a fantastic career in 6 years and then moved in 1994 to Reckitt Benckiser, a well-known company in the consumer goods and retail business as well. Worked all over Europe, was sales director in Italy, general manager of the European private label business. And after being successful working there, I was actually invited to join PepsiCo, especially the snack division, to start up from scratch the business in Germany with for Frito-Lay at that time. Today it's PepsiCo Snacks. We did that very successfully. It was a fantastic journey. And after a certain period, that journey ended. And in 2004, it was circumstances and coincidences. I landed into search, started as partner at Amrop Executive Search, and am since 2004 in the role. Had to turn and switch from business leader to consultant. That was really a change. But with help from a few fantastic coaches, I've been managing well. And since 2015, my partners asked me to become managing partner, which I am since then, and still do it with a lot of pleasure. We work a lot for family companies and private equity portfolio companies, the entrepreneurial companies, the entrepreneurial families. They look for entrepreneurial suppliers for help, and in our case, for leadership advisory.
Great. Well, it sounds like quite a journey, and it's also an international scope that you've been working.
Very much, yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
very exciting to have that.
I learned a lot from other cultures, to be honest. How the
Great.
same issue can be solved in a completely different way. That was my best learning, especially in my period in Italy. Gave me a lot of learning lessons in life. Yeah.
Culture and diversity. Yeah, big
Yeah.
part of it.
That's very good.
Great. Well, thank you, Elko, for the introduction. My first question is top of mind for many of our participants, and it's what key qualifications and experiences are essential for them in order to secure a board role, and what is
Yeah.
the best way to highlight them?
Okay. Now, first of all, I think it's important to mention that qualifications and experience really vary per board role. It's not a one-size-fits-all case. However, there's a clear trend for every board position to describe the requirements and capabilities for the candidate to fill the role are getting much more specifically described and asked for. So that's clearly why we are being called for helping in searches. However, some qualifications are more generic to be a good board member, I would say, and then I explicitly would like to refer to the non-executive part of the board role. It requires a high caliber style of asking questions and getting to the essence of a certain topic.
Mhm.
The bright capability to filter out a lot of information that you get from all kind of angles into guidance towards the executive board. So translate all the information into a structured guidance.
Mhm.
Of course, strategic mindset. Very often I see the non-executive board members together with the executives in the board. It starts all with a good strategic roadmap. Other qualification is being inspirational, have really experience and knowledge about stakeholder management,
Mhm.
being a good challenger and inspirator, and last but not least, a clear communicator. And what do I mean with that? Is the capability to explain specialist matters, because sometimes you're in a board as a specialist, but to explain very specialist matters into understandable language to all the other board members
Mhm.
around you. Those are the aspects and qualifications that I see that are most valuable for the non-executive board roles.
Thank you. So it sounds like a combination of great technical expertise and knowledge, but also softer human skills, maybe
Yes.
with the ability to listen well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and filter out of what you hear, let's say, a kind of direction that you need to go and in your advisory part of the
yeah.
role.
Very exciting. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right. A lot of things for them to look out for.
yeah.
The second question is, in your experience, well, what are some of the misconceptions, or maybe we can call them limited beliefs, false beliefs that might deter qualified candidates from pursuing non-executive board roles? And how can these be addressed to encourage more candidates to apply?
Yeah, I translated your question a little bit into what do I see as pitfalls? What do I see happening when people start in a role and yeah, are being confronted with issues? The pitfall number one is being too directive or being too operational. And the non-executive director is not is a coach from the sideline and is not acting in the pitch anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you see when people made a fantastic career and moving out of an executive role into a non-executive role, that they continue the habits that they used when they were in executive roles. And that's exactly what not should happen. Yeah, you are entering a different yeah, podium or platform, how you should act in a different manner, still helping the board to be successful in running the business.
Mm-hmm.
Second pitfall is continuously referring to how you did it in company X. Yeah, the companies where you are very successful in as executive, keep the advice or coaching neutral with practical and generic examples.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the third thing is that a top CEO or top board executive is not necessarily a top non-executive board member. I described the differences. Some people are much more in the do modus, in the steering modus, and less in the coaching and inspiring and asking question modus. And that's really a difference between an executive and a non-executive role.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, I would say make good judgment in which stakeholder field you step in. And with that, I mean, if you are in a board with 100% single shareholder and you present a shareholder, for example, in a family company, but also in private equity owned firms, your role is completely different than when you are a board member where there are many stakeholders, yeah, without having one stakeholder with a dominant majority of shares. Your role is different. You are much more amongst the shareholders networking and with the other board members and less with the owner or the ultimate beneficial owner. So make a good judgment in which field you're really stepping in, because sometimes I see people that make actually a mistake. They have not judged or did their due diligence in the interview phase. Okay, am I stepping into?
Mm-hmm.
And also make sure that you know financially the situation of the company or the organization where you step into, that you have insights. And you can always ask that by signing a non-disclosure agreement and get at least some superficial or maybe even deeper insights in the numbers of the business you're stepping in as a non-executive board role, so that you're not being confronted with surprises.
Mm-hmm. So doing your homework.
Doing your homework, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it sounds like it's really about a shift in mindset from operational to stepping
Yes.
out of this day to
Yeah,
day and becoming
yeah,
an advisor.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think what's really inspiring from what you're saying is that all these things can be coached. They're things that you can learn if
yeah,
you prepare for
yeah.
them with proper
Yeah,
coaching.
yeah, yeah. I always say use your intelligence to be open for coaching, and use your intelligence in a new way of yeah, taking position in your new role.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Part of the evolution.
yeah.
Yeah.
So pick experience from others is also very helpful. Yeah,
Great. Great. Thank you. The third question is about the journey to secure the first board role. We know it can be quite daunting for a lot of people. And at the Board Mastery, we help our participants to prepare by getting the right knowledge and the right tools and experiences. What would you say are the top 3 strategic steps or tools that
Yeah,
the candidate should
yeah.
focus on?
No, actually, I have 5 points that I would like to indicate on this question. It all starts with making a good professional resume with non-executive content, meaning that you share experiences in your resume that can contribute or are relevant for a certain non-executive role. Because a non-executive board has a certain agenda, call it strategic strategic direction setting. It could be M&A, it could be carve-outs. So different subjects on the agenda. Share them in your resume that you have that experience that can contribute to your role as future non-executive.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, your LinkedIn profile should be very professional and should be as professional as possible, but also consistent with the resume that you hand over in, let's say, in a second stage. So there should be a connection between your LinkedIn and your resume. Your LinkedIn is absolutely not your resume. So don't overfill LinkedIn profiles with all kind of information. That's what you can structure in your resume setup. And very important as well in your setting up the right LinkedIn profile is use the keywords where people will search you on for non-executive experiences and capabilities. So using the right keywords, because in the end, that's where we search for, is very important.
Mm-hmm.
I always advise people that are planning to step into a non-executive career, meet with experienced non-executive board members and ask their feedback on your profile. Ask them also, okay, what did you do to get where you are today? So really learn from them. That step is very often forgotten, but if you meet with a few people that are 10, 15 years further in their life, in their career, you can take a lot of learnings from them. Also, practice your application for your first non-executive board role, some at a place that's not directly on your top 3 of ideal non-executive board positions. So
Right.
build yourself some experience in interviewing for a non-executive board role. Yeah, and it's very simple. You can apply on certain roles. It might not be the ideal one, but go there, speak with the people, and take your learnings. Last but not least, if you are in a serious interview for a role that you really admire in a board, yeah, keep always in the back of your mind that the people that you meet on the other side of the table will be, they are looking for a team member. So next to all your competencies and experiences, yeah, the people are also searching for a new member in their non-executive board team. So pay attention to the, let's say, person-to-person relations to the people that you interview. Because in the end, you will become part of their team. And as a team, you should very often act towards the board or towards the outside world. And that's an aspect that's very often forgotten. But the personal connection, even during the serious interviews, is quite important.
That will build into the board dynamics going forward if you do get accepted.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So it sounds like prepare your external packaging, talking to the right audience, and then maybe get your feet wet with, testing out other positions. And I really liked your point about talking to the older peers and getting their experience. Do you
Yeah.
find that they're usually open to contributing and mentoring their younger?
Absolutely, yeah, yeah, because they are very glad to meet, let's say, new future or colleagues in their own team or talents in other boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they hand over their knowledge. Great.
With
That's
pleasure.
very,
Yeah,
that's yeah, very hopeful and inspiring.
yeah,
All right. So for the last one, this one is all about purpose. And at the Board Mastery, we focus deeply on human-centric approach and leadership. And
yeah,
so in terms of finding the right board position in your process, how do you help them ensure that the role that they pursue does not only provide their, career goals, but also provide personal fulfillment and align with their long-term personal
Yeah.
goals?
Yeah. Now, the key theme in finding your next role is authenticity, in my opinion. So always stay close to yourself and make a step that finally matches with you as a person, with your capabilities and with your understandings. Um, um, I mean, the more authentic you can be in your role, I think the better you will come out. So I have a non-executive coaching program developed over the years for executives and non-executives that are in transition to a next phase in their career. And I help them to make decisions and choices. But I also hold up a mirror and confront them with the role and ambitions that they are telling me they are looking for, but they should always be very realistic. So close to who they are, close to the knowledge that they've gained and developed over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I offer a framework of career analytics to help executives define their true, call it executive position statement. What are the real USPs of you as an executive? Um, Going through the career analytics that I help them generate, they generate about 40 insights on the essential ingredients for the next role. Okay, what should be in the role that I'm looking for? But also elements, okay, what are my leadership capabilities? What have people or assessments learned me over the years that are my true leadership capabilities?
Mm-hmm.
The same applies for leadership experience. Okay, where are my experience, both functional, cultural wise, which countries, which kind of industries? And last but not least, and that's an element I see more and more attention for and a request for, the capability to explain, okay, who is the true person that we are meeting when we meet with you? And what are your life changing experiences? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? And what did you took as learnings? And which values have you developed over the years?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so with that in hand, I offer the candidates a template to work out. I call it the executive story. So that's let's say a short summary of 25 years of career, but that's the storyline line they should be able to reproduce when the following situations pops up. You meet with one or two decision makers in the selection process after you've been through interviews and eventually assessments. But then the question comes up, listen, we think you're a great candidate for the role that we are having open. We see you starting tomorrow, but we have one problem. We have a second candidate who is as good as you. Can you explain us why we should choose for you?
Mm-hmm.
And that happens on a regular basis. And then you should be able to lift your story up with this executive story. It's different than your resume. It has different content, but then you are in 10 minutes able to explain where you are sitting there and what you're fit to the role.
Mm-hmm.
And the executive story will really convince the decision maker to choose for you as the right candidate for a certain role. And I mean, I do it now for more than 10 years. I do about 30 top executives per year. So I had more than 300 people almost. And many found really their good next executive career step by doing this so thoroughly. Because normally people make, especially the good people, you make advances in your career and you never have to think about your own story.
Mm-hmm.
But at a certain moment, there comes a moment in time that you have to do it, and then you should be doing it professionally and very structured, and that's where I come in to help.
Yeah. That sounds like deep work, but also if you're essentially not the right candidate for the job and your story does not fit the profile, it saves you
Automatic.
so much time and so
Yeah,
much disappointment. It's very important.
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Great. Elko, thank you so much. This is very valuable insight. We're excited to have you perform your session at the event in
It's a
June,
pleasure from my side.
and we look forward to seeing you then. And until then, thank you and
Thank you very
have a great
much.
day.
Good.